you, Granny.
I don't know what you guys think you just saw, but I'm pretty sure you're wrong. How's it going? Welcome to another video. This is Tim from Brew Bros. Today we are brewing BrewDog's Elvis juice. It's one of my favourite day-to-day beers. It's an American IPA with grapefruit. It's got powerful hops, it's got really nice grapefruit tang, and it's got a high ABV as well, which I dig. At the end of this video, you'll see I'll taste it and compare it with the real thing. So this is all in the one video, it's not spread out over several. This isn't a kit, I've sourced all the ingredients myself, and the links to those ingredients will be in the description below, so you can source them yourselves. There are some kits that you can try. There's Brooklyn Brew Shop, which is a good kit, and there's an extract kit on Amazon as well. All BrewDog recipes are open source, so you can go and brew at will. There's DIY Dog, which is a PDF they've put together of all their recipes. There's over 400. It's basically a history of BrewDog in recipe form. If you aren't familiar with BrewDog, you need to have a word with yourself, first and foremost. They were founded in Scotland in 2007, and they're a power player in the craft beer market in the UK, but increasingly around the world. Their Punk IPA is the UK's best-selling craft beer. And as well as being known for their beer, they're also known for their provocative marketing as well. So the cost of the batch that we're making today is roughly £1.40, just over £1.40 a pint, which is quite expensive for a homebrew IPA. The reason for that is because of the sheer number of hops that are included. Obviously, it's cheaper than if you were paying £3 a bottle at the supermarket. We're making a 4.5 litre batch. And to get the grapefruit hit, we're using Citra and Mosaic hops in the recipe. We're also using WHC Sanders yeast, which is not the BrewDog yeast they use. It's another one I've sourced because it was out of stock. We are also using fresh grapefruit juice and peel too. So before we crack on, please subscribe. It's free, it makes our day. Pound that button. And then it'll keep you up with all our content for the home brewer and beer drinker. There might be other stuff that if this is your first time, you might see another video of ours and want to get a brew on again. So, without further ado, let's get our brew on. So just running through the equipment I'm using, from left to right, I have a funnel, I have bottles with the flip lids, I have a Demijohn 5 litre, that's 1 gallon Demijohn, with a bung and an airlock to go in it. I've got a thermometer, I've got a mesh bag, straining bag, stroke grain bag, I've got a siphon, I've got a large spoon, I've got a syringe, plastic syringe, I've got a spray bottle with sanitizing spray, Star San in this case. I've got my brew pot, which is 8 litres. And I have a couple of bags of ice. And that's the lot. One of the most crucial parts of the brew is the mash temperature. You need to monitor the temperature constantly and keep it as close as possible to the target 65 degrees. And the best way to do that is on a stove is just by removing and adding it to the heat. It's quite a surprise how much the grain retains the temperature. It is hard on a kitchen hob, and you'll find that some parts of the pot are hotter than others, so you have to keep moving your thermometer around. So good luck with that one. So that is the mash over and done with. I've got my sparging water ready to go back there. I've got to do quite a tedious part of the process now. I basically got to separate the liquid, or the wort as we call it now. That's the beer. I've got to separate that from the grain, and doing it DIY at home with limited equipment is, as I said, a bit of a pain in the ass. The straining net that I bought was a bit small. In fact, it's about a third of the size that I wanted, so that's going to backfire on me, but never mind. I'm going to strain it bit by bit, separate it, and then I'm going to clean the pot. That's this pot here. I'm going to clean that thoroughly and put the hopefully as clear as I can get it wort back in there for the boil. What we're trying to get to is 5.5 litres in our pot, because in the boil, which is the next stage, we're going to lose about 20% of our beer, of our wort. So yeah, 5.5 litres is what we're going for, from washing the grains effectively with our water in here at 67 degrees, over the grain, bit by bit, as we're separating it. Okay, so the tiresome part of the process is over, and now it gets a bit more fun. As you can see, there's the spent grain there. Now you can use that spent grain and make some tasty bread. So if you look up in the top right corner, you'll see a link to our spent grain loaf video. And that's our beer. A bit cloudy at the moment. Hopefully we can work with that. You can quite see that measurement, but that is pretty much bang on 5.5 litres. So now we're going to boil this. We're going to boil for an hour, and that'll reduce by about 20%. And that's where it gets interesting, because this is where we start adding the hops. This is obviously a very hoppy beer, as you can see from the description, with various heavyweight American hops. And yeah. So what we're doing now, we're trying to get this up to a nice rolling boil, nothing too aggressive. And we're going to be doing that for an hour. And if you look at the screen, you'll see our when we're adding the hops, in what quantities as we go along. Also during the boil, at the 55-minute mark, we add our grapefruit juice, our fresh grapefruit juice. We should give it that really nice zingy taste. This is again where doing it at home is a little tiresome, because with the electric hob that we've got, it takes quite a while to get that up to boiling temperature. So I might go and read a book or visit the loo or something. Okay, that is the boil complete. Just got to put these last hops in. And we'll give that a stir and remove from the heat. Now we've got to get our wort down to 21 degrees centigrade as soon as possible. So I'm going to transfer over to the sink and then fill it with ice. There we are. Now the beer is rapidly chilling. You can check it with the thermometer that I've been using, but yeah, it has to be cleaned and sanitized each time it goes in the wort. You can hear me doing now. Okay, there's our beer in the fermenter, or the Demijohn, ready to go. It's a little bit cloudier than I'd like, but I've got some tricks up my sleeve to make that good a bit later in the process. Right, so we're just going to agitate it, get a bit more air in there, a bit more oxygen for the yeast to attack. Okay, so we're looking for 70 ml of our liquid yeast. In you go, boys. They'll go in there and make things happen like an unstoppable rebel force. And that is it. So what I'm going to do now is put this in the airing cupboard. It's supposed to be around 19 degrees centigrade while it ferments. So I'll put this in the airing cupboard and we'll see where we end up.
24 hours later.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
3 days later. 2 weeks later. 3 days later.
Okay, so sanitize everything before it comes into contact with your amber nectar. Siphon from the fermenter to the pot which has your sugar and water mix inside. Be extra careful not to suck any of the sediment as you siphon, so go as low as you dare. Keep the pipe in the pot to one side so you get a nice whirlpool effect as it fills and mixes with the sugar solution. Also, the pipe should be submerged so you can minimise the oxygen getting into the beer.
Two weeks later.
Okay, so it is time for the big tasting. It's been virtually a month since we brewed, so that's 2 weeks fermenting, that's 3 days cold crashing, and then a further 2 weeks carbonating in bottles. So yeah, we're good to drink. Let's see how she handles. Okay, let's go with the BrewDog first. And now mine. Excellent. Had a bit of fizz. Always worry that it's not going to carbonate properly. What do you think, eh? Eh? I mean, that looks pretty good to me. So homebrew left, BrewDog right. So I mean, you'll instantly see the BrewDog is a bit more carbonated than mine, which is fine. Mine is carbonated quite nicely. You can see you've got some bubbles there coating the glass. The colour is pretty damn close. See that? It's pretty close. The BrewDog's probably a little bit browner, but I'm pretty happy with that. So let's move on and see how it smells and tastes. All right, so here we go. Let's give mine a sniff first. Okay, so there's a little bit of grapefruit, not too much. It's mainly hops, to be honest. Okay, so the BrewDog is definitely more grapefruity and more orangey as well. That's quite clear. Mine smells good. It just smells hoppy, with a flutter of grapefruit. Let's give it a taste. I'm pretty blown away by that, actually. It's yeah, the quality of beer that you can make on your stove using £50, if that, worth of equipment has blown my mind with this, really. Yeah, let's have another go. Really happy with the clarity. I think for a stovetop brew, I think that's pretty good going. Hope you can see that okay. BrewDog glasses as well. Yeah, love your work. Right, let's taste the genuine article. It's got a lovely smell, the BrewDog Elvis juice. It really does. So we've got to work on that smell for next time. To be honest, in the taste, there's virtually nothing in it. Really isn't. I'd say that the BrewDog is a touch smoother. I'd say that... Go back to mine. Yeah, the BrewDog is a touch smoother. Mine has more of a lasting bitterness to it. So I'm thinking that maybe next time I will try not putting grapefruit juice in the boil and see how that compares. To be honest, I think if you were drinking them separately, I think, unless you know the BrewDog aroma really, really well, I reckon you'd be hard pressed to choose between them. I would challenge someone to be able to distinguish. I did test the ABV, so I did take gravity readings, and mine is 5.5%, whereas BrewDog's is 6.5%. So I muffed that up. So that's something I've got to work on for next time, is getting that ABV up a bit. So yeah, conclusions. I'm really, really happy. That's a good beer that I would happily drink with people. And to be honest, I'm amazed that I've made that on a stove in our kitchen and fermented it in our airing cupboard. I think next time, I think maybe more grain to bump that ABV up a bit. I think maybe about 10% more grain, because obviously mashing in a saucepan on a stove is not that efficient. As I said, maybe no juice in the boil this time. Maybe to stick to the peel and maybe keep the grapefruit peel quantity the same, but maybe add some orange peel in there too. Maybe go for half an orange per litre. So I've gone half a grapefruit per litre, and then maybe just a touch more sugar when priming. I mean, mine's bubbling, which is great. That's the bit I worry about, whether it won't carbonate properly or not. But it's okay. But maybe a touch more next time. I think next time, in terms of learning points for me as a brewer, I think better siphon technique for sure. I lost some beer in the siphon process. There was a bit of wastage, which annoyed me. I've got a spare fridge, as you saw, the glass-fronted fridge. So what I might do is get a little heating element for that, so I can control a nice consistent fermentation temperature and carbonation too. That will just make the beer even better. And I'll always, on stovetop now, mash inside a net just to make that separation easier, and I highly recommend that. So, that's it. I think that's job done. What do you reckon, Elvis?
I like it.
Yeah, so, thanks very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it and got something out of it. Look out soon for a Punk IPA kit video, and also an Irish Stout DIY stovetop brew. Those videos are going to be coming up soon. You guys take care, get brewing. It's good for what ails you.